I keep losing my Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah. This shit sound like some shit you can get on motherfucking killed there.
All right.
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Werner and Herb Howard. You'll never breed a warrior.
Warriors, come out to play.
Shh. You hear that?
And that's what's happening at every angle. They're creating paradigms where we can only raise feminine men.
Yes.
Whether they're homosexual or not, they feminine as shit.
Sure, because all masculinity is toxic.
All masculinity is
Right.
toxic in a war-torn society where the dominant society is saying to your ass, we don't never want no warriors.
Right.
You bastards.
Any book you've ever read, you can read the Bible, goddammit. When they go and they destroy some shit, they kill all the boy babies.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even want you growing up to think you're gonna do some shit to me.
Animals do the same thing. If I come over here and I take over this village now or whatever, like this gonna be my pride. First thing I'm doing, killing the male boys, like killing the male
Don't
babies.
you
like,
even grow up with no attitude,
Don't you
little
even
nigga.
think about it.
Yeah,
Okay?
Bitch.
Yeah.
Right. You ain't my daddy, you damn right I ain't your daddy. Fuck your fort, little nigga.
Fuck your boy.
Like,
That's fucked up. Oh man, I hate that I laugh at this shit in public.
That's real.
I hate that I laugh at this stuff in public.
That's real though, right? Toussaint Werner and Herb Howard live on What's In It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Welcome back, good people. We are back. We are live from inside the What's In It for the Black People Media studios. Again, alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. Huge shout out to Reese the Ruler, man, doing all the hard work in the production studio. Figured out what the issue was that was bringing back that feedback. Again, huge shout out to She Raw for pointing that out initially to us, and then for the rest of y'all confirming that. that was certainly an issue. Again, we apologize for the inconvenience. Hope we didn't give y'all a headache. That shit sounded terrible when I was listening to it for a while. So we got it together now, and we have an opportunity to go ahead and continue with the show. Thank y'all so very, very much for y'all's patience and for y'all's commitment and being so consistent and coming back. We shut it down like 3 or 4 times to try to figure out what was going on exactly. But y'all kept coming back, and we certainly appreciate it, man. Thank y'all so much for the love y'all show. It means a whole lot to us, and that was just one more example of y'all doing what y'all always do before I said what I said. So thank y'all so very, 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 very much.
Real spill.
That was interesting.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. Shout out to the bigs, man. On the Soil, another dope episode of On the Soil. There was a lot of sports going on. I just want to say that somebody should put Ben Simmons on like suicide watch, okay? Because he is getting his bum ass drug up and down the entire sports world ridiculously now. It's all the memes, it's all the comments. It's on Coach Doc Rivers. They asked Doc Rivers point blank, like, you think he could be the point guard, the starting point guard on the championship team? Doc Rivers like, yeah, I don't know about that, fam. Like it's like, and everybody's coming at him so hard. Everybody coming at Ben Simmons so hard right now. And I'm not saying that he don't deserve it. He played like shit. Okay, the whole entire series he played like shit. He's a max player who has zero offensive ability. He's an offensive liability, except for like if he's just in the open court running and dunking, then I found he could do that. But anything else, and I mean anything else, free throws, trash. The man passed up a wide open layup, a wide open dunk, because he has no confidence in his offensive abilities right now. He's a liability on that court. He shot like 34% from the free throw line for the entire postseason, the lowest percentage in NBA postseason history.
You remember the hype of Ben Simmons when he came to the league, though?
I do remember the hype about Ben Simmons.
So when
he came out of LSU and motherfuckers thought he was the
even before he got to LSU, like how they
that was a huge
about,
bid, and it was everybody wanted him. Like,
so what Ben Simmons reminds me of is like where America is in general, and it kind of leads us back to the conversation of the parade. You know, I think there's a whole lot of symbols and not a lot of substance, and we start to praise the symbol, right? You don't even have to live up to the mark. You just got to be positioned and marketed as the symbol.
That's it.
Right, and
That's
that
all it
becomes,
takes.
again, we talk about values and we talk about identity a lot here. You know what I mean? And I think when you, like, even if you watch the NBA today, like, think about the teams that's left. None of those teams that's left are supposed to be the teams going to the championships. Right? They're not the ones with the premier players. They're not the ones with the league
right,
warranted franchise cats.
right.
You know what I mean? And what you start to realize is, man, that none of that gaudy shit substitutes for real hard work and real value.
Right.
It just doesn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't. They might win every once in a while. They might get an award every once in a while.
Sure.
You might get the spotlight every once in a while. But the person who works harder is always going to win. That's just what it is.
Hard work beat talent when talent don't work hard.
Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Period.
The
You
man
know
was
what I mean?
blessed from birth. Okay, he's a 6'10", freakish athlete, right? That has some ability to play point guard at the highest level of the world, but he doesn't work on it. Gino kept saying it over and over again, like, how you not working on your game? How do you keep coming back every year as the exact same player you were last year? You ain't added a jump shot. You ain't added a mid-range. You shot 34% from the free throw line, bro. Dead ass, I can do better than that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucking crazy, bro. Like,
but even with that being said, you know, we just, outside of it being Juneteenth, we just had the anniversary of the Tulsa riots or whatever, stuff like that. And we kind of, I don't think we put that stuff in perspective, right? Tulsa wasn't the only city that was booming like that for black people. It's probably like 10 that I can name off the top of my head at the same time. And it wasn't happenstance that those cities was booming. You got to think 250 years of slavery or forced labor when nobody who had power had to do or learn shit. So the minute that system ends, everybody who was under
we
that
superhumans
system
now, fam.
has the skill sets because they was the ones doing the fucking work.
We can build, we can start, we can do
all
everything.
the
We can
shits.
build, we can plant, we can grow, we can do everything.
Y'all don't know how to do that.
Y'all don't know how to do none of
All
this
y'all know how
shit.
to do is beat ass and shoot people.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Right.
And so
So now we have the skill set in equalized situation,
Right.
you can't outpace us economically. You can't outpace our production because you don't know the shit we know.
So they said,
For
let's do what we
200
do
years,
best.
200 plus
Beat
years.
ass and kill people.
You've been lazy and allowed us to do all the goddamn work. I.e., and that kind of is the goal of America today. That's like and I hate to say this, but them young boys running through them goddamn cars yesterday, whatever they had done in that store was a recompense of what they hadn't done in their lives. I got to go rob a motherfucker now because I don't have the skill set to go get this anywhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It just is what it is. So even the symbolism of with this, imagine that type of shit happening at the Million Man March. Man, them motherfuckers be dead.
Facts.
They be dead.
Facts.
Because you ain't gonna do that at this event.
Up in here. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd hearken and say, imagine that happening at the Bud Billiken 20 years ago.
Right.
Or 10 years ago,
Right.
maybe even just 10 years ago.
Right.
No, dog, not this.
Not
our
this one.
shit.
You're not gonna disrespect this thing.
Not our
and
shit.
that's what it was about doing that with the fucking car parade. Like this shit. Like all these red, black, and green flags, all these fucking cars are here. You chose, and this is what you chose to do, right? You ain't trying to open up these white folks' cars. You bugging, right? And had it not been like a fucking car parade that it was still like in motion, he wouldn't have got away with it there either. You know what I mean? Like it.
But I say all that to say is because there's this conversation around black pathology that we just got to address. Specifically around this Juneteenth conversation. There was a popular conversation that took flight this week about who the fuck asked to give us a Juneteenth holiday. Right, from the Senate, because the Senate made this a national holiday. But see, that shit shows how disconnected we really are. Right? And there's a question of who's asking for this. First, if you're really engaged into the black community of America, there's always been this kind of niche group of people who celebrated Juneteenth for as long as I've been on this planet.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And because we are so entranced by the American way of thought or this Western thought, the vast majority of black people looked at that shit as, oh, that's them.
Yeah.
That's
Just,
them conscious.
Right.
You know, that's them
Extra
incense-
woke ass,
extra
hotel
woke ass,
motherfuckers.
incense burning
Right.
motherfuckers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we tend to wait for white daddy to validate our existence.
Right. So we waiting for the 4th.
We waiting for the 4th or Christmas or whatever the fuck the white man says
Right.
this is valid.
Right.
You know, I saw one sister in Texas and she was like, you know, somebody asked her, what's the meaning of Juneteenth? She's like, I don't really know, I don't celebrate it. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I've seen you put Christmas post up. You know what I mean? And that shit disturbs me. Truth be told, motherfucker, if somebody didn't tell you your birthday,
Right.
how could you validate it?
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know. Somebody told you that was your birthday.
There's certainly it could be a real possibility that I wasn't born on April 11th. You know what I'm saying? It's just somebody told me
You know
that.
what I mean?
I have no fucking idea.
You don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I think the real power in the Juneteenth conversation is that outside of the holiday, that shit don't mean nothing to me. Like the Senate saying, hey, y'all got the day off, everybody gets paid or whatever. I think for black people, what makes it interesting is that it kind of gives us an opportunity to imagine the possibilities of creating and dictating our own narrative.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're in a conversation right now where they're talking about critical race theories in classrooms. They're talking about not funding states who decide to teach critical race theory. Now think about this shit. Think about the oxymoronic idea.
That's the irony of that. The irony of y'all's making this a national holiday while 16 states in the union have outlawed teaching it.
But I think that's the beauty in it personally, though.
Okay.
Right? Because how do you acknowledge a federal holiday while not teaching the conversation? Well, in turn, what you do is you force that student to want to learn anyway. You know what I mean? You first force that student to go get the information anyway.
Which is where we should be getting it from. But it's just the irony of that. Oh, national holiday, Juneteenth. It's illegal to teach it in the fucking schools in 16 states.
Yeah, but how could you say this is a national holiday and then have to describe what the fuck it is?
Right. Right.
You can't. The two can't coincide.
Why we out of school Friday? Can't tell you, Billy.
Can't tell you, Billy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
they can't coexist together.
Right.
They can't coexist. So for
Right.
me, it's like it's oxymoronic to think that it won't have an effect. But even outside of that shit, even that for me is just the white
Right,
view
sure.
and the version of the shit is that this is our opportunity to create our own narrative.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? You know, we always hit a conversation like, even in the conversation last week, it's like, you know, we asked for police reform and we asked for reparations and we didn't ask for Juneteenth. One, that's bullshit because I know a bunch of people who's been asking actual people who could make the change for Juneteenth for a very long time. So that's one, just prove that you're out of the loop. You're not engaged enough in politics in your community to know what the fuck is going on. That's one.
Right.
But two, again, they're not going to give us reparations.
No.
Nobody's going to give us reparations.
I ain't giving you shit.
We got to go get reparations.
Period.
We got to go take reparations. And the part of getting and having reparations is those people on that side of the spectrum say they're not going to give. We got to shift your mindset to saying, no, I got to go get. And the only way to do that is to educate you and to make you conscious of your existence. And part of this Juneteenth conversation allows for the narratives to begin to be built around what your value is, around what your tradition is, around what your history really is. Mm-hmm. Right? This kind of blanket statement blackness where we just kind of exist in the right now is why you don't have and why we won't have reparations. We can't just exist in the right now. Nah. You know what I mean? There's a trajectory. There's where we started and where we're planning on going. And if you don't have that kind of an understanding, you find yourself wallowing in purgatory. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I.e., we get the kind of results we get because I say all the time, we're not black people. We're a bunch of dark-skinned white people. Mm-hmm. We live off the same kind of grid and the same kind of paradigm that the white world's created. It's time for us to create our own narrative, and I think Juneteenth has a part of that. Value in doing that.
100%. I think that it's extremely valuable to have that kind of energy, to have that type of intentionality about celebrating us and celebrating our history, right? And I think that to have a day that we do that on, national holiday or not, you know what I'm saying? To have a day that we as black people do that on is really, really important. I think it goes a long way towards what we always talking about in terms of setting our identity and defining who we are. I think that is a critical part of the equation, right? So if we can, you get something like Juneteenth, like, okay, well, we celebrate now. Okay, who's celebrating that? Okay, and then that again goes towards us finding that shared identity. And I think that part of it is critically important. Not to mention how fucking excited we get about symbolism anyway, right? All this other symbolism we get excited about for no fucking reason. Barack Obama or Bill Clinton playing the saxophone or Chucks and Pearls or whatever the fuck, pick one of these damn symbolic gestures that we get so excited about. But then here's one, what is an actual tangible thing, a national fucking holiday, and I'm like, fuck it. It's like, nah, not fuck it. We can talk about the irony of it, right? In comparison to the fact that we can't even teach about this fucking national holiday. We can talk about that piece. But the idea of it not being a step in the right direction for black people, you wild.
And I want to put this at the forefront of the conversation too, right? Just like any other holiday, what I know is going to happen is that America is going to commercialize it.
Oh, 100%.
It just is what it is, but that's up to us. That's if we allow it to happen, right? I was having a conversation. We was at a Father's Day little barbecue the other day.
Talk about it.
And I was having a conversation with Shanita, and one of the things that Shanita was saying was that, you know, she was kind of disheartened by some of the events that she actually went to on Juneteenth, where it was like just another vendor event where everybody was selling. And I had a different opinion. You know what I mean? I was like, well, no, I think we should stand in front of it because there's going to be money made on this holiday, and why not it being us? You know what I mean? And I think there's nuance in it too, because what Shanique was saying, I kind of like it more when it was just the idea of community and everything was free and everything was given, whatever, that spirit and that energy. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just sharing and linking into a communal idea, which I fuck with. I fuck with that energy too. But I think, you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans, because if we don't capitalize on it, they surely will.
They already are. There was already the conversations leading up on the 18th, leading up to people talking about where they were going to get their Juneteenth T-shirts and merchandise from, right? It's like, well, you know, I want to get it from a black thing, but if y'all got $30 and $40 T-shirts and they $5 at Walmart, then I'm going to Walmart, right? And it's like, I saw those kind of memes, and
that's sad.
I get the math, but I get the joking and shit, but y'all dead ass serious about giving the fucking Waltons Juneteenth money. Like y'all real serious about that. And it's like, we fucking bugging. Like, you know what I'm saying? We talking about a holiday to observe and celebrate or commemorate the last of us being freed from slavery and bondage. Right? Allegedly. And then at the same time, you want to give that money back to motherfuckers who, like, it's...
Ready Rock says, I believe we give too much energy to the few. Most black people were celebrating it because it was something with blackness. We love partying. I fully agree that we love partying. I don't think we fully love investigating, right? So wherever the party comes from, we would the party. The function itself is all that we need. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of the nuance of the conversation I was having with Shanita, is that anybody can sell your party.
Right.
You know, like when you start thinking about all the parties in our communities, the bigger events, they're being funneled through some kind of sponsorship, i.e. some kind of white company. You know, we just had All-Star game here, right? The whole South Side was cracking. The West Side was cracking. Downtown was cracking. And let's keep it a buck. That's largely a black event. You know, All-Star anywhere. It's largely black events. But every event you went to was sponsored by such and such, sponsored by such and such, sponsored by such and such. They're reaping the rewards of our engagement in the sport of basketball. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying, all I'm saying is that it's a nuanced kind of conversation. Is that when this thing becomes what it becomes, because we can see that it is a spark easily because we lead it, right? At the end of the day, black people create the culture for the world, not just America, but for the world.
The world, Craig.
The world, Craig, right? So last weekend, what I saw was, and again, it's interesting from my perspective because this isn't a new thing for me, right? We did the Juneteenth car caravan yesterday when it wasn't, not yesterday, but last year when it wasn't a national kind of a holiday. And it was beautiful last year. But this year when we did the car caravan, immediately you started to see 4 or 5 different car caravans, right? Which kind of dilutes the value of the original one. It minimizes the value of it, and at the same time, there's nuance there too, because I'm glad that anybody's actively participating. Yeah. Right? But it's like if you had 17 African festivals, what makes one more valuable than another? Right. And who's sponsoring this one and that one and this one? It's kind of hard to keep control of it. Right? And that's kind of what this is. It's an opportunity for us to control our culture. Right? But again, sometimes we look at shit very much like the white man looks at shit and says to ourselves, okay, how does this capitalist mindset we in put us in a position to just capitalize? Right. And we can't just think about this from just a capitalization standpoint. It's also about elevating, building, and reconnecting community. So in that vein, I do agree with Shanita, but I think it has to be a balance.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a both and conversation, right? I think that the energy should be communal, right? And it should be one of love and giving and celebrating. But I do understand that there is absolutely some economic opportunity there, and somebody's going to seize that economic opportunity, and it should only be us, right? It should only be us. And so when you go in Target and they got they're going to have one rack of fucking Juneteenth T-shirts
on a white mannequin.
Right, on a white mannequin, right? Then we should leave those fucking shirts on that rack. You know what I mean? Like, just like, what the fuck? Y'all not welcome here. This is a real nigga party. You cannot get in. You know what I'm saying?
Let's stop being real niggas, right? And do
it's a song. I'm
do
just saying.
No, I'm meaning in this sense though, right? Do what everybody else does. You want in on this, right?
Right.
Now let's leverage your money to do something bigger. Right. So the white man wants a part of this capital. How do we create a Juneteenth event where we forge the white man's capital to build into our community?
Right. You want to come into our thing? Here's how you can come in.
It's just like rap music to me, right? So I think what's happening is we've sold out of rap music, so it's no longer ours. It's not purely ours now. It's being dominated and dictated. What everybody else does is sell their culture. It's like you can lease my culture. Yeah. You can't own it. Right. You can lease my culture. Right. But what they do with ours is that we sell our culture because we sell it for so goddamn cheap. Right. You know what I mean? And we don't own it no more. And then they start dictating what messages come out of our cultural experience. Right. And then we get young niggas running through Michigan Avenue at 3 p.m. trying to rob a sister her goddamn car in the middle of a Juneteenth parade. Right. That's the bullshit. Right. We got to control our culture. Just like when you was like seeing the white people faces or seeing the Asian lady join it. Right. Here's a lease. You can fuck with us. Is this what it costs to fuck with us? Right. Then go back to your shit. Holla. Right. You know what I mean? Just like when you niggas went around with Kiss Me, I'm Irish t-shirts on. You're leasing that.
Yeah.
Right? Because on the average day, the average white motherfucker ain't letting you in the average Irish pub. They don't want you around.
100%.
But if they can make some money off your ass on
so your t-shirt is a beer.
Come on, my nigga.
Yeah.
So we got to look at it the same way.
Yeah, I must admit that I am a St. Patrick's Day participant when it's a thing. It ain't been a thing for the past couple of years, but you give me a reason to day drink.
Dear Santa says, to be fair, some people can't afford $30 shirts for their entire family, but they can afford $5 shirts. Should they forego the shirts altogether? Yes, the fuck they should.
And yeah, what we could do is we the most creative motherfuckers on earth. We can make Juneteenth shirts. Like we can figure out a way. You know what I'm saying? We can figure out a way. Is the video frozen? Yes, it is, Ready Rock. The video is frozen on both of our cameras too. Let me see if I can pull up this other camera. Yeah, I think that we can be creative. Like you can just make can make a Juneteenth T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool, especially you talking about like for your kids and all that. Like kids make T-shirts in school and shit all the time. Like it don't gotta be that deep. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think that where there's a will, there's a way. We got to be able to find another way other than giving all of our resources.
And miss me with my kids can't get the $30 T-shirts.
That's true too.
That's where I come in with we buy everything else.
That's true too.
You know what I mean? Like I can't see. I don't know. Fuck all that.
What value do you place on it?
We gave away 200-300 T-shirts at the end of the parade yesterday. You know what I mean? So just be active, and then you can find that in a different space. You can find that access somewhere else. But it seems like when we want some shit, we find our way to it. I think the average T-shirt in the stores that the kids shop at today is more than $30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we should make those excuses for events like Juneteenth. And that's kind of what I'm saying is let's dominate the narrative. Let's control the narrative. Let's make sure that we control Juneteenth from here on out. You know,
Agreed.
And that's just really a shift in mindset. You know what I mean? I.e., let's lease our culture while still owning our culture. You know what I mean? But not let's just sell out our culture for very cheap. You know, to sell out your culture to Walmart for $5, you don't deserve to own it.
Right.
You don't deserve to own it. Ownership comes with some responsibilities and some accountability. It just does.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they had an argument about renters and owners when renters will throw trash on their grass when the owner won't.
Right.
This is my responsibility. I got to be accountable for the way this looks because this is mine. And we got to own all of our culture in that same capacity.
Including the work that goes with it, right? You're right. It might not be as easy as running over to the plantation and letting Massa feed you, right? But that meal come with a whole lot of other shit, okay? We can fucking figure out how to feed ourselves. Like we can figure that out. And I get it. I understand the economic conversation within that. But there has to be a level of commitment to what we're trying to get at. Otherwise, are we really trying to get at it? Like, or not? You know what I mean? And if we are, then our actions should reflect that. Our spending habits should reflect that. Our interactions with each other should reflect that. Hell, and you know, it's a both and conversation. We talk about what you and Shanita was talking about, and also to your point about the parade, right, and all the different Juneteenth events. I am absolutely thrilled about all of the events that are happening. The parade itself, the car parade itself, is the one thing that I think has to be unified. That has to be a unified thing that happens as one major event and everybody comes out to it, right? We should not have 3 car parades on the weekend of Juneteenth. That just doesn't make sense, right? We're splitting up our resources and our impact that way, right? So one thing, and do it on one day at the same time for every fucking body. Now, all of the other events, all of the pop-up shops, the events, the barbecues, the shows, the concerts, the this park, the that restaurant, I'm for all of that. I'm for as many of them as possible. All right, we can have 200 Juneteenth events over the weekend. I'm for that piece, but the parade itself needs to just be one big fucking thing, and not 3 different size things.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Yeah,
right. Like, just how do we make that parade much more impactful? How do we, attach it to like some culminating event or something like that? And maybe therein lies the key. Right? Maybe that's a trade, maybe that's a routing or a mapping of all the culminating events, right? So because the way we ran the parade this year, and I'm saying parade, but maybe caravan is a better word, I don't know. But we rode all the way through the west side, and it was kind of like this kind of zigzagging kind of pattern. Then we rode through downtown. Then we rode through the south side, and it was this zigzagging pattern. Imagine if you had stops along the way where those stops kind of represented culminating events. So if your plan was to go to, I don't know, Chicago and Pulaski, or whatever the fuck. I don't know them streets like that. Right. Or Madison and Pulaski was one of you where you plan to spend your day at.
Sure.
Well, you jump in the parade from there or to there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just jump out then.
Right.
The next stop might have been 79th Street. I don't know. You jump from there to there. You know what I mean? But it does kind of have that kind of unifying kind of concept of this is that one thing that everybody in the black community in this city is going to do at this time. And the impact of that, the symbolism of that is dope.
That'd be
Not only
bananas.
is it dope, but therein lies how you demand money.
Look at us. Look how many.
Look at us. Look at what we
can do to this fucking
right?
city. You know what I mean?
Now you demand money for several different pots. Through this parade route, we stop it here, 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 and here, and that's a collective vision instead of these scattered kind of one-offs, right? And this collective vision forces the hand of the corporate entities to spend money with you in a different way, right? So, i.e., you want to buy sponsorship on these floats, i.e., you want to buy sponsorship, you want to, i.e., have a part of this thing, of this event. Pepsi, you owe me this much money. Mountain Dew, you owe me this much money. I.e., now we're renting our culture. Now we're leasing the culture. You know what I mean? While still doing what we do, and everybody profits in a different way. Like, I love our hustle, man. One of the things I was talking about was independent black business on the parade route, because you see everywhere we went that day, it was street vendors doing this, that, and the third. But they're street vendors. And they selling flags, or they selling ices, or they imagine being able to spot up somewhere, right? Collectively, and already you've been funded by some resources of funders. Right now you have instead of us charging everyone for the little space in the culminating the stops. Pepsi paid for this booth. All of these goddamn booths. Go on, sell your ices to this collective group of people that's gonna be here anyway. You know what I mean? And we got to envision something bigger than ices and flags. You know what I'm saying? But it's the way to leverage their money as an initial investment to jumpstart our community beliefs.
Yeah, and we can have some of those larger events just along the route, right? So if you don't want to fucking ride through the city for hours, cool, right? You just want to post. So okay, cool. We gonna hit the west side. All right, so cool. Madison and Pulaski is gonna be a big spot there. We got a big spot there. We're gonna set up a stage there. Motherfuckers come out there, and that's if you want to kick it there, cool. Then we're gonna come south. You know what I mean? If we're going to do something on 53rd and Hyde Park, we set up something over there, right? We keep going south. We want to do something on 79th and Stony or whatever the fuck. 79th and Halsted, Ashland, whatever. You know what I mean? And to be able to set them up in those kind of spaces, then cool. But that thing needs to just be one thing, as opposed to, like, I heard it was a car parade, I think, on the west side on Saturday. And cool, right? But however many cars was at the one on the west side on Saturday, if they was all just together on Friday, like, the parade, the line we had was so damn long anyway. But if you add in the people who did the one on Saturday or the one who did the one on Sunday, like, it would have been even longer. And then that impact, again, the symbolism of they came through and it took them 10 minutes to pass a given point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it took us about 4 or 5 minutes to pass a given point on Friday as we were. But if it takes us 10 minutes to pass a given point, that shit will be powerful as hell.
Put this in perspective, G. The Bud Billiken starts on like 31st, right? Ends essentially on 55th, right? Now, that's the route. But in regards to, like, people engaged in it and sponsors of all that, that's the largest black parade in America, the Bud Billiken, right? Now, so because I live where I live, the Bud Billiken has become, and it's always kind of been a tradition with my family.
Sure.
But because of where I live specifically now with my kids, it's something they come to, look forward to having experience with every year. Because since they was kids, it's like we just stepping out the back door and we out here at the Bud. You know what I mean? And it's part of their summertime tradition at this point. You know what I mean? Over the last few years that they've even had the Bud, you've seen those sponsors dwindle. You've seen the African Fest is right there on 51st Street dwindle in regards to sponsorship. And I've been intricately involved in both of these festivals, so I know a little bit the workings of the money. Like the Africa House International, the African Fest is the only event they do during the year, and they pay their whole staff off that one event.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Bud, I remember I had a contract with the Bud. Me and TJ had a contract with the Bud. They gave us like $10,000 to do entertainment, like at the finalization point at 55th, which is nothing. Like, this ain't really entertainment. You know what I mean? Some local cats at best. We never programmed the stage, and they let us keep the $10,000. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do.
What I'm saying is, it's a drop in the bucket for these people.
It's the kind of money that's being funneled through that process.
Right.
And what you see is that they're snatching them dollars away. Right, they want to minimize the Bud to 4 blocks. The African Fest is damn near non-existent. I'm doing charity work for the African Fest sometimes at this point. Like, I help you just because I love y'all at this point. And a lot of the reason why people can get away with that goes back to Byron Allen's conversations. Right, we buy general market. We buy what white folks buy. So they don't feel any specific need to market to us specifically. And even when they do market to us specifically at this point, because of how we buy, they don't even spend marketing dollars with black firms. They spend marketing dollars with white firms that create black messaging, i.e., we don't control the culture. And you see the events of it. I mean, you see the responses from it.
Right.
From the funding standpoint.
Right.
Like, we don't look at it, we might not look at it like this, but think about how much, I just said, the African Fest whole staff makes all their money off one event in a year.
Right.
Right? All them vendors that come to the African Fest, their whole livelihood is attached to traveling state to state.
Sure.
To these kind of vendor opportunities.
Sure.
I know everybody used to go to the African Fest to buy the Black Consciousness T-shirts when Black Consciousness wasn't necessarily the popular thing.
Right.
Right? It was one vendor named, I can't remember his name, but he was out of Philadelphia.
Before you can get it at Walmart.
Before you could get it at Walmart, there was one vendor, this guy was out of Philadelphia. He just traveled the whole summer circuit selling his T-shirts. And that man was a multimillionaire. But imagine how many other people he's employing by being that guy who travels all of the black vendor festivals during one summer. That's what I mean. We have to just lease our culture. You can't have it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't have it, but you Cadillac, you want to sponsor this African Fest?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Give me this hot 100,000, this hot 300,000.
Right.
And if you don't, we ain't buying Cadillac.
Right.
Period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but these one-offs makes it easy to section us off, and they just keep piecemealing us and not giving us nothing because we don't care.
Yeah.
It's never a large enough impact.
Yeah, that's where the unity component comes in at, right? That's where you got to have everybody on the same page. That's where that identity is key. Like these things should be fixtures and staples in our community, and they have been at points, right? And to watch them be peeled off one by one at a corporate level is like, yeah, it's trifling on their part, but it's also indicative of our lack of power and organization to be like, hell no, the fuck y'all won't. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the space that we got to get to, and I think that comes from being able to show a collective ability to flex our muscle at the same time. And I don't give a fuck what it's about, right? And so if an opportunity presents itself to say, fuck Starbucks, then regardless of how much I might like Starbucks, which I don't, but regardless, we got to be able to just be like, okay, fuck y'all, right? Right now we flexing on y'all. Or if it was Gucci when they did the fucking monkey shirt in the hood, put the boy in the monkey hoodie, fuck y'all, right? And it don't matter, right? How much you might like Gucci. Right now we flexing on them.
I see these warring fractions emerging about our community, though, idealistically, right? And I think this goes kind of spans beyond just blackness. I think it's just like cultural to the city at some levels. Like when I start looking at my closet at this point, everything that I have from a notable design is a Chicago cat. So i.e. that means a black Chicago cat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's this other section of our populace that are seeking this kind of validation through these kind of very materialistic means. And maybe that's not even the right word, because in my mind, even the black designs that I'm rocking from the city is a materialistic investment. You know what I mean? But there's this kind of ode to Chicago designers now, and I think there's a large percentage of our community who's rocking with the Chicago designers. But then you just being on that float the other day, you start to see the cultural shifts even within the inside of our communities. You know what I mean? As you roll through those different neighborhoods, you see there's a visible difference in culture. Right? So getting back to the festival, like the African festival specific, or even the Bud specific, the Bud is on the low end, right? It's from 31st to 55th. That's essentially Bronzeville, Washington Park, and Hyde Park. That's kind of the culminating communities that kind of always harness the Bud's energy. Same thing with the African Fest. Now, what that's usually looked like is Bronzeville was a landing spot for black people when they first came to Chicago. So there was kind of this, back to the ADOS conversation, this organic black consciousness that lived there. Right? Even today, that still resonates there. Those are, in a lot of ways, a lot of black leadership in Chicago is still centered in those places. Right? But what you see outside of those places is a different idea brewing of what blackness is. And even on me being on 51st, I remember one time, and every year I get a bunch of passes to the festival because I work with them. So it's I go in and out that joint whenever I want. I'm passing out shit. Like, here y'all go. I remember one time, man, some of the young boys around my house stopped me like, man, hey, man, what's that? Nah, these boys got to be 15, 16. You know what I mean? And I've seen them over there for the duration that I've lived over there. So they've been over there, 5-10 years already at that point. And they was like, what is that? And I'm like, what you mean, what is that? They're like, what's happening in the park? I was like, man, that's the African Fest. Y'all ain't never been to the African Fest? Y'all don't even know what it is? Legitimately across the street from your house.
That huge thing happens over there every year.
Every year, right? This is consistent. Every year this happens, and you've never been inside of there? It's like, nah, man, I ain't never been in there. So it was like 5 of them, so I gave all of them passes to go in there. But think about this. You can get a full-out concert experience at the African Fest for $20.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to bring artists. They got food.
Yeah.
Even if you're not buying nothing from the vendors.
That's
you know what I mean? The artist itself is worthwhile going to see. Even for the young boys I get a pass to. They got something to feed you, too.
And the energy of being up in there is
Beautiful women.
Is value.
You into dudes, just handsome dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything is there, man. One year I broadcast live from there. When I was over at WVO, and I broadcast live from there, and we was right at the front gate. And it was me and Cliff Kelly, right? And so everybody's coming in, and they
General.
right, and they all want to talk to Cliff Kelly and take pictures, and they all come. But the energy was so good, like the energy in that space is just so fucking bomb. And I remember saying that day, like, man, if we could bottle this up and take it outside of these fences, that would be fucking amazing. Because everybody you walk past is greeting you with a smile and a warm welcome and a greeting and a hey and a hello. And it wasn't just because we was there at the fucking tent. When I got up and walked around, it's the same kind of shit with everybody. And it's like, man, we go outside that gate, we're going to ice grill each other and walk past and not say shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do we bottle that kind of energy up and take it with us everywhere we go and make sure that it permeates throughout our community? I think that's a necessary thing, for sure, for sure.
We invite the people who don't have that energy outside the gate, inside the gate. And had them go back to the community and spread it like a virus.
That's real spill. That's real spill. I gotta give another shout out to Reese the Ruler, man. DJ is working overtime in this joint today. Reese, appreciate you, man. Got the cameras back up. If y'all stepped away from your screens because we was just all audio for a minute, we do got the cameras back up. So if you want to come back to the screens and watch, you can. But huge shout out to you, Reese. Appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah, Reese did his thing because we was definitely having technical difficulties today.
Yeah, for sure. But either way, it is what it is. We persevered, made it through.
We always do.
We always do, man. Gotta give a huge shout out to Butter, bro. Yeah, something's wrong with him, first of all. But second of all, you hit me up yesterday morning. And he was like, yo, I'm finna patch Buddy in on three-way because he said you don't never answer his call, so he don't want to call you. And so he patched him in on three-way. And he like, what kind of meat you want? And I'm like, what? He like, what kind of meat you want? I'm like, bro, what are you talking about, man?
You know I know you get.
Right. Like, what are you talking about, bro? And he like, man, I'm finna hop on the grill. I'm finna barbecue for all the guys in my circle. You know, I just want to show some appreciation for y'all. And so, I'm finna hop on the grill and barbecue. Just tell me what cut of meat you want. I was like, oh, okay. Say that next time, okay? and so, tell him what I want. He's like, cool. I'm finna go to the store and grab all that stuff. And he like food to be ready at about 3. Like, sounds amazing to me, brother. And so, at 3 o'clock, I pull up to Butter's crib. There's no semblance of a barbecue happening. You know what I mean? Like, so I pull up to his crib and I don't smell anything. I don't see any smoke. I don't smell anything. I don't hear any music. I don't hear people talking. I'm just like, okay, well, let me just see, right? So I'm like, let me just walk up to the backyard. So as I'm walking up to the backyard, I can see through the fence. I can see his kids. Mm-hmm. I said, so okay. So I open the gate, and then there he goes, standing there, big as hell, and his wife beating and shit, just standing there.
Trying to figure out how to light a grill.
He like, bro, you came on time? I'm like, I came on time, bro. Yeah, so you didn't say the thing might start. You was like, food to be ready at 3, right? So I'm really thinking like, motherfucker might have been here a little earlier, but no, he's standing there fucking around, right? And so he like, yo, you know how to put toys together? What? He got his kids this big ass toy car that they can hop in and drive, right? But it all needs to be assembled. There's tires over there, it's parts over there, 17 different little screws. And all. Hey, bruh, No, you got the wrong one, G. I will tell you in a heartbeat, I am not a handy person. If y'all like handy dudes, I'm not the person for that shit. I ain't fixing shit. I don't know how, and I don't have a desire to. Okay? So I'm like, nah, bro, that ain't gonna work out. Like, so he tell the kids, like, all right, cool. Y'all gonna have to play. I'll put it together for y'all tomorrow. All right? So now he finally get to this food shit. Right? And so he like putting the charcoal in, he lighting the green, he like, hey, do I light it like this? Should I light it like that? He's fucking around on the racks. He can't get the racks to put it sitting there right. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing right now, bro? And so he like, man, I don't know how to fucking grill. He's like, you know how to grill? I'm like, yeah. Like, I fucking love to grill. He's like, good, bro, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, G. Just grill, right? And so I'm like, okay, like, this is my first time. I was just trying to do something nice for everybody, but I don't know how to fucking do it. So I'm like, I got you, bro. I love to grill. I got you, right? So he like, cool. So he make another store run and she like, what you trying to drink? And I'm gonna go grab some of this and some of that and some more food, this, that, and the third. So he dipped. And so I'm hopping on the grill. I end up, it's fucking hot as shit. I'm sweating like a motherfucker and shit. Shout out to his lady, man. She was so hospitable. She was making sure I was straight. She brought me like a towel and water and everything. She was super on point. But that motherfucker is crazy. And then two ordered plant-based vegan burgers, right?
That's right. Staying true to the mission.
Staying true to the mission. Shout out to you for that. Until all this other fucking food was ready. Okay?
She not made on the mission.
he like, wait, I'm eating cardboard burgers and y'all eating T-bones and porterhouses and strips and lobster tails and all this other shit going on.
But I only abandoned the mission with chicken. I ain't do nothing more than chicken.
Yeah,
but chicken asparagus and cardboard burgers.
But it was love though. It was definitely a good time. So shout out to Butter for putting that together and kind of doing something. He kind of did some shit. I don't know. I ended up grilling, and I told him, I said, you know what, man? Something told me not to wear clothes over because I almost got dressed, like really put on some clothes, and I was like, nah. Just throwing some sweatshorts in the tee and go ahead. And thank God I did because I was on the grill, ashes all over me, sweating like a heathen and shit. I'm like, man, if I was dressed, he'd have just been smoked. We'd have just been eating whatever kind of fucked up shit he put like he did. Cause
that would have been all bad because he didn't know what the hell
he did not know what the hell he was doing. But that shit was fun as hell, man. Had a real good time. So shout out to Butter for putting that together, man.
But I definitely struggling not trying to eat one of them steaks though. Gee, it was hard.
Yeah, they looked good.
They did look.
They looked good. TJ pulled up, banged his shit. I'm like, oh damn. Yeah, I'm ready to eat now. Usually when I'm grilling, I don't even be ready. Like, I'm around the fucking meat and I just don't have no appetite. Bro.
And if Sadiq is listening, I want you to know the only reason I aborted mission and even ate the chicken is because the cardboard burgers was the last thing to touch the grill. And everybody was eating. I was like, man, fuck all this. I came here to eat.
Yeah. Y'all were not a priority.
Not a priority at all.
Okay? You plant-based folks were not a priority at that thing. I'm like, let me finish all this other stuff and then I'll throw that on the grill for 34 seconds.
That mark called me. He was like, man, I cheated too. I was like, what you talking about? He was like, man, I didn't know to get your plant-based fake ass. So he's like, I called Cassie. And she was like, well, how long would they been vegan? He was like, nigga, it's 2. She was like, oh, fuck him. Just get whatever you get. Right. No respect in these streets. No respect.
No respect at all. Cassie is absolutely hilarious. She was turned up on the floor, G. She was dancing from the west side to the south side, all downtown. I saw her doing the percolating, all kind of shit.
The BBD song came
on. The BBD.
The BBD routine.
I'm like, look at her. She is out here on one. I wanted to get out of my car and dance with y'all at that point, but because you started to do it too. That's why y'all doing a little kick and shit. And I wanted to get out of my car and dance with y'all at that point. Shanita fucking standing up through the sunroof in my car and shit, dancing and shit.
Man, that's a beautiful event though. If y'all haven't made it next year when you do the Juneteenth car caravan, y'all got to get the information
for real,
because it is really, it's all inspiring, G. Like it
is.
I legitimately think it's the most beautiful black event in the city of Chicago. I really do.
I wouldn't dispute that at all.
I think the house picnic, the Brewfest, and the car caravan is like the most beautiful black experience.
Oh, for sure. What makes the car caravan different is that we moving all through the city,
and
right?
It's a statement in blackness.
Right. And whereas when you at the house picnic, as beautiful as it is, we all here together, we all doing the same thing. We ain't really flexing on nobody. You know what I mean? We just enjoying each other, which is dope as fuck. Mm-hmm. But to watch them people's faces as we fucking come through like the Gold Coast, right? As we hit through downtown, if we go through fucking even Pilsen, because There'll be a lot of energy in Pilsen too. Like, man, y'all get that shit out of here too. Okay,
That's true.
So that's what kind of makes it different. That's moving through all these different places, but it is absolutely beautiful, man. Be intentional about coming next year because it's just dope. I promise you will love every fucking second of it. It's absolutely amazing, and I enjoyed every bit of it, man. We're gonna wrap this thing up and get up out of here. We'll be back on Wednesday at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Tune in to Muwar Kills World at 11 a.m. Salim's got a dope show planned for y'all tomorrow. All honor and respect to King Salim.
Hey, real quick before we go fast,
Yeah.
shout out to King Salim, man. Keish called me because Keish ended up going to Seattle this weekend.
Okay.
And she was like, man, she called me all excited. She was like, guess who's down here at this retreat with me? I was like, who, Negro? She was like, Salim's daughter. I was like, great, man, that's awesome. I was like, tell him, her dad's the man. She was like, I already did.
For sure. Huge shout out to King Salim. Also, huge shout out to Philip Jackson, man. On Saturday morning, he had the street corner designated to him right there at 35th and King Drive where the Black Star Project is. Philip Jackson founded the Black Star Project. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he got the honorary street naming at 35th and King Drive, so it was cool to see the sign unveiled out there. It was cool. A lot of people came out, showed love for that. I was emceeing that, and so people kept sending me some pictures, right, of like me just kind of standing. Like I would introduce a speaker, and then I would kind of stand off to the side. People kept sending me pictures like, "Why would you so angry? You look pissed off up there." And I was like, "I wasn't angry. I don't know. It's my resting nigga face, I suppose. Like I don't know what else to call it. But they sent me pictures, and I did look hella like a little angry, like focused. And I'm like, I don't know. I should have been up there smiling, I suppose. But either way, congratulations to Philip Jackson. It was certainly an honor, well deserved, and a lot of people came out and showed love and spoke and reflected, and it was super dope. So job well done, Mr. Jackson, sir. Also, a job well done, Reach the Ruler, sir.
Anytime, fellas, anytime.
Thank you, my brother. Couldn't have got through this without you because once the crackling started and I couldn't figure out what it was, I was just be like, all right, we out. We go home there. Yeah, because nobody would have listened to I wouldn't even want nobody to listen to that shit. That shit was irritating me in a little bit of time I heard it. So anyway, huge shout out to y'all again for rocking with us. We'll be back here on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for Reach the Ruler and Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
I get gone off one of them cones, stay in my zone, no 2-3. I rock Peter, all my dogs, this Hennessy hit concrete. Free my boys behind them walls until they see us all free. Till our day come, we